Hey, good evening everyone, and welcome to Amy's Fireside Chat. Amy's Awesome Adventure. This episode of Amy's Awesome Adventure is a collab in honor of National Grinch Day, which is always December 1st, and that's when you're going to be watching this collab. And it is hosted by the Hall Family Adventures, and I will have their link as well as everyone else who's participating in this collab. So when you're done watching my fireside chat, you can go to the other channels and see what they've done to honor this wonderful character, the Grinch. Anyway, I am, in honor of the Grinch, I figured, and in honor of the lovely creator of the Grinch, Dr. Seuss, I was going to read you the lovely story that he made up, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. All right. So, again, welcome to this wonderful fireside story time. So, as I said, How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss, otherwise known as Theodore Geisel. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at all the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers, nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which is something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas thing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? And then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what I'll do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat. He chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then Grinch said, giddy up, and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. Then he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop one, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. He climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.
He is a mean one, isn't he?
Yep, he sure is. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a black banana with a greasy black peel. He slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first thing to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. Then he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all of the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the ice box. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. Then he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove.
Coo.
He turned around fast and he saw a small who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2.
Aww.
The Grinch had been caught by this tiny who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cool water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
Aww.
Gotta always remember to show pictures. I almost forgot to show that one.
Well, you're enthralled.
But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick? He thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I will fix it up there and bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child, then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed that tree up.
He's a mean one. He really is.
Yeah.
He's mean.
He really is mean. Stealing everything and lying to children. Then the last thing he took was the log for the fire. When he went up the chimney himself, the old liar, on their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse.
Ooh, boo, boo, hiss.
Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses.
What's with that city having all these mice?
It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. There he is in his big old...
Poor Max.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to hurt his back.
Poor Max having to pull that big old sleigh. "3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was grinchingly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. When the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo."
So sad.
And there he is waiting at the top of Mount Crumpet with all his stuff.
Yeah.
That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound raising over the snow, and it started out low, then it started you grow.
What is he listening to, folks? What is he listening?
But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise.
Egot.
Every who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or another, it came just the same.
Wow. What a great community.
Everybody getting together and singing and enjoying each other.
Singing songs like this.
And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet all ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't done before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
Shocking.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he...
What did he do? I'm puzzled. I don't know.
He himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
Oh, that's so cool. He's not a mean one.
So thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful annual Grinch Day, and I hope you enjoyed my rendition of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So everybody have a wonderful holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or you celebrate Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, don't be a Grinch, but let's all enjoy each other and be like the Who's and just come together and have a wonderful holiday season. So again, thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye for now.